Today we're going to be adding some more interior mods to the EcoDiesel JL. Let's hop inside and I'm going to show you what I'm trying to do. If you've been following the channel for a while, you may remember back in the summer we installed this JCR overhead rack. And this is kind of been my plan to be a base to mount different things to. Now, since then, I've added a worn storage bag here, which I use to hold a camera cloth and extra radio, and inside I have some soft shackles. But what I really wanted to use this for is to mount my communications radio faceplate and my spot GPS, and maybe some other things in the future. So these are the two devices that I want to mount up to the JCR overhead rack. This is my communications radio, and this is my spot satellite communicator. The spot satellite communicator, I like to be able to take off and use outside of the vehicle if necessary, or if I need to get to somewhere with perhaps better satellite access or better satellite coverage. Sometimes the Jeep isn't in an optimal spot. So this needs to be able to come off easily and use. This, I don't want falling off accidentally and damaging it, but I do want to be able to remove it because if I need to secure the Jeep, I want to be able to just unplug this little connector on the back and take this off. So how we're going to do this is to use a setup from 67 Designs as well as some additional accessories. So we have the 67 Designs Series 55 rail system. This one is their 300 mil or just over a foot, which we're going to attach to the front of the JCR rack. That's going to give us some versatility to then mount their ball mounts. And these are the same ball mounts that we've been using for the JL rail system on the dash. And then we're going to use some of their nano arms. So these are their shortest carbon fiber arms to be able to position the radio where we want it. And then we're going to use this. This is just a Joby tablet holder. So that is going to hold our faceplate just like that. That is going to give me a bit more security than magnets. And this gives us lots of positionability. I didn't do this up tight enough, but tighten this up. And now we've got our faceplate attached. And if we need to, which will be infrequently, but if I do end up somewhere where I want to remove this for security, all I have to do is unscrew this knob on the back, and then I can loosen it off to be able to get the faceplate off and store it securely. So with this, it won't be a problem falling off or moving around with a magnet because this is larger and heavier, where this device is super light. We'll be able to just attach it and pull it on and off with a magnet mount as necessary. So what we have here is 67 Designs Mag Mount version 3, G3. Here, you can have a look at it here. This is going to be our other attach point. So this comes with a metal plate that has a 3M adhesive on the back. Then we can mount this up, and it has a ball mount to connect to another nano arm on the back. This should be more than enough to hold the Spot 2A communicator, but if I want to grab it, I can just pull it off and clip it back on as needed. So the other part that we need is, this is 67 Designs quarter 20 camera mount, which mounts right to the back of this Joby holder and just screws on like that. And now we have a ball attachment for this, which will work awesome. So we've got the nano arms that are available as well. You can get these in different lengths, but I want the nice short arm to keep this all high and tight and out of the way. I didn't want to be hitting my head on this once we get it installed. Pop the ball in, we close it up, we tighten it or snug it up. We'll move this around to the right position in a minute, so you can kind of get an idea how this is going to come together. Then we're going to take one of the ball mounts and we slide this into the rail, just like that. And then we're going to take a hex key, we'll tighten it up. And this is going to give me some flexibility to move this around, or I could add more stuff to this later, either using a longer arm and extend out maybe some other devices, maybe a GoPro or something. We'll take a second ball, and then we'll just snug this ball down, and we'll move this around later once we get this all mounted up. But this will give you guys a good idea of how this is going to come together.
So that gives you an idea of what this is gonna look like. It's gonna let my satellite be, or the satellite communicator be pointing straight up into the sky, which is what it prefers to get the best signal.
So now the idea is to mount this here to the overhead rack. And we've got our communication system. We can see it easily. We can rotate this down towards us if we want. I've just zip tied it to the overhead rack temporarily, and I'm gonna mark the holes. You may notice that I switched out the nano arm for a longer arm because I thought, after kind of mocking this up a little bit, I thought it was better to push the faceplate to the radio up and further back and out of the way, and I really like where it's sitting, so that worked out well. So I used one nano arm and one, I'll put a link down in the description, I can't remember how long it is. It's just an extra one I had kicking around. Here's what it would look like from my view. I've kind of positioned it, the radio faceplate is up high enough that it's not impeding my window or my rear view mirror, and the spot is right where the A-pillar is when I'm sitting in the driver's seat, so it doesn't really get in the way of my vision at all. So what I'm gonna do next is just make a couple center punch marks where the two holes are on each side of the rail. We'll cut those zip ties, bring it down, and then we will drill those out. Nice, simple, easy mod, but really kind of cleans up and secures some of that equipment.
So 67 Designs does have mounting hardware for this. And I was thinking maybe I won't use riv nuts. Maybe I'll just put one of these bolts all the way through with a nut on the end. And that might, well, that'll be less work. And I think a nut and bolt are more secure than a riv nut if you don't have to. But they do include some riv nuts in here. I would highly recommend having one of these riv nut tools if you're gonna be doing anything with riv nuts. I'll put a link down in the description. This is the one I use. I think it's like 40 or 50 bucks on Amazon. But we also have washers and nylon locking nuts. So I think that will actually be better. They also include little pieces to put underneath the rail so the rail isn't, you know, sitting right on the metal that you're attaching it to. And then there's a couple end cap pieces. So this one here is an end cap to kind of finish off the end of the aluminum rail. We'll put these on before we start bolting this down because the bolts do go through it. So it's nice that they do include all the hardware. That's great.
So I didn't want a bunch of metal shavings all over the Jeep. So we just put a blanket down. We'll drill a couple pilot holes in here. All right, we're gonna put a couple new zip ties back up here to hold this whole thing in place while we mount it. So make, I think, getting the screws in a lot easier. And then I've got the little hex key that came with this and a 5/16 wrench. There we go. And then we'll drop one of these washers on. Hopefully I drilled my holes in the right spot. A moment of truth. There we go. It's a good sign. Oh, you know what? Forgot my end caps. All right, let's back this up and put our nice little end caps on so that this is nice and clean and we're not gonna have any sharp edges on the end of the rail. And there we go. Cut these zip ties off. All right guys, pretty straightforward install if you already have the JCR overhead rack. If you don't, go check out my video on the installation, putting this into the JL. I'll put some links down in the description below as well as a link to 67 Designs website and a list of the parts I used. Let me know what you guys think. Pretty cool setup. Leave a like if you enjoyed this video as always. Share it with your friends. Smash that subscribe button because we upload new videos every week. And I'll see you guys in the next one.